from Hyderabad. So I would like to thank office bearers of TOSA and invited people from the Khammam TOSACON organizing committee. So I'm going to talk on the avulsion fractures of knee with arthroscopic management. So I'm working in Kamini Hospital in Hyderabad. So there are few avulsion fractures around the knee. You know the avulsion fracture of medial collateral ligament, lateral collateral ligament, ACL avulsion fracture, PCL avulsion fracture, or patellar tendon fracture. These are the avulsion fractures. But the only two avulsion fractures which can be treated with the arthroscopy, one is a ACL, another one is a PCL. So first we will have a ACL avulsion fracture, how frequent it and what is the treatment, how to do it. So ACL avulsion is most common from the tibial side, very rare from the femoral side avulsion, and most common in children. There is two hypotheses. One is the weak bone than the ligament. That is the main thing because of incompletely ossified bone. And second thing is relatively very elastic ligament than the bone. So that will withstand and the bone will fail. So these two are the hypotheses behind the avulsion injuries in children, and we do see avulsion injuries even adults also. And the mechanism is hyperextension injury, and another one is the direct blow to the knee at the in the flexed position. There is a classification, age-old classification, Mayer's and McKeever's classification, where they are divided into four types. Type 1 is undisplaced or minimally displaced. Type 2 is anteriorly elevated, anteriorly parrot-beaked avulsion, and posterior hinge will be there. And the third one is a complete fracture, but the complete fracture with only small fragment is a type 3 A, and type 3B is a very large fragment which will be avulsed from the tibial side. And the type 4 is a comminuted fragment and comminuted fracture with a rotation. So if you see this radiograph, there is a avulsion fracture. Here this is avulsion fracture. In lateral view you can see the avulsion fracture. This is a ACL avulsion. The MRI is mandatory in this patient because when you are planning for surgery, the ligament should be good. If the ligament is not good and they entirely torn with the avulsion, sometimes you will see the both ACL ligamental structures and the bone also fails. Both will fail. Sometimes it is a rare, even though it is rare, we have to take the MRI and see the ligamentous morphology. So then you can plan for the only ACL avulsion fixation. So type 1, just you can put a long leg cast for immobilization for 4 to 6 weeks, but every 2 weeks you have to call him and as a follow-up and check for his the integrity of the fragment at the mother bone. So type 2 is again you can do a close reduction, and again you have a regular follow-up, and anytime within 2 weeks if it is displaced, again you go for the fixation. Type 3, type 4 it is mandatory to fix because it is completely displaced and rotated, and sometimes it is comminuted, a very large fragment. So this is one video of avulsion fracture, how I do this. I'm going to demonstrate. This is ACL avulsion, very big fragment, the comminuted. We see here this is a one fragment. So very important thing is intermeniscal ligament. This is a hindering thing, hindering tissue which will come into your bone, avulsed fragment, and to the native bone. This has to be taken care throughout the procedure till your end of your fixation. So next step is preparing the bed. So preparing the fracture site, you have to remove all the soft tissue, all the fibrous tissue, bone, because in malunions you have to remove some of the bone, but orienthistic removal of the bone also makes a very big defect. It's very difficult to reduce the fracture site. The morphology of the entire fracture you have to understand, and the reduction, the completely anatomically it has to be reduced, and then you take the ACL jig to reduce. There are two fragments, so I'm trying to reduce it in anatomically, and then making a provisional fixation with the K wire. So that is a reduction with the probe, trying to reduce and see how the fragment goes and places onto the native bone. So this is my ACL jig on the, there are two fragments, one is this side, this is a one big fragment, this is a one other fragment, and this is a ACL, and I did drilling with the K wire, and with a drill bit I made a bigger hole and made a one thread loop into the in the fractured fragment. This is a transosseous fixation. Then another drill for the medial fragment. So this is again the same procedure. So two threads has come inside. And then this the arthroscopic suture settling. This has to be done with the, this is a instrument which is called Occupus. With this you can settle the sutures through the osteoligamentous area of the ACL. So that's how I do settle my PDS suture or any suture through the this one. And this is external view how I do. So I am piercing the PDS suture or Prolene, any one number Prolene, to make a suture inside the ACL at the junction of the bone and the ligament. Then exchange with ultrablade suture. I use a 2 number ultrablade suture exchange with the Prolene, and then you reduce the two fragments. See, that is a complete reduction onto the bed. This is the ACL that has to be meticulously removed, and you have to get a window here. This is the first window. Another window you can go just medial to the PCL. So this window gives entry to the posterior part of the knee joint. So, and another trick is here you can take a 90-degree artery and open up after some debridement. So the iatrogenic injury is more common. Your shaver should be towards the femur side, not towards the PCL and ACL side. Don't disturb the native normal ACL PCL while doing the window. This is the transeptal opening, and then I will go for the high anterior lateral portal. This is my needle to see the trajectory, how I am going for the anterior lateral portal, and then you check the medial portal. This is high posterior medial portal. High posterior medial portal, after seeing from the high anterior medial portal, you have to see the this medial part, posterior medial part, and create a high anterior posterior medial portal. So this is very important. Then you can, because if you have a high posterior medial portal, you can debride the entire posterior fossa. So there are two ways of doing posterior PCL reconstruction, the repair with the two posterior portals. One is a high posterior medial portal. This is a high posterior medial portal, low posterior medial portal. This is my portal. My way of doing is one I will take a posterior medial portal, another one is a posterior lateral portal. So I will see from the posterior lateral portal and work on the through the posterior medial portal. So the meticulous debridement is very important, because the vascular structures are very near, or 1.5 centimeters just posterior to the your PCL. I put the PCL jig here purposefully to take the PCL fragment towards you, and my shaver is on posterior medial portal, and my scope is posterolateral through the posterolateral portal. So very important thing is it's like going inside the enemy side and coming out. If you knock out the vascular structures, you will end up with the amputation. So you have to come back very safely. This is my debridement, very safe debridement. You face your shaver towards the PCL side. So my PCL jig is holding the piece, and I am looking from the posterior lateral portal, and this is debriding from the posterior medial portal. And then next step is it's like looping around the entire PCL and drilling, making a tunnels in the tibia. 2 tunnels or 1 tunnel depends on the fragment length. I will make a, if it is fragment is very small, I will make a very small tunnel, 1 tunnel, and then I will pull the loop down for the reduction of the fragment. So this is passing the suture through the osteotendinous junction, and then parking these sutures anteriorly inside the intra-articular side, and then drilling the osseous drilling. This is a K-wire. Then over this I will make a small tunnel. So this is a very important thing. See, if you see here, there is a posterior medial, through posterior medial I put the instrument and push the entire capsule back, so that it is safe to do drilling there. So then I suture management here. I push the sutures inside, take out the transtendon sutures through these sutures. So this is the fixation. After fixation, you check the, see if you see here, so anteriorly translating that entire tibia towards your side. This is after fixation with the suture disc. So this is a post-op X-ray. You can see the in the radiograph the PCL tunnel here. So PCL tunnel going here, and because of the brace, I think its radiograph is not clear. So there are studies, few studies done comparing between the open and arthroscopic procedure. Arthroscopic procedure has a better clinical outcome. Thank you very much for Team TOSACON. Thank you. I am going to organize a conference on arthroscopy shoulder and knee in June 9th in Hyderabad. I would like to invite from this stage, please come and participate in this conference. Thank you.
Request our chairperson to present a small token of appreciation to Dr. Jayaprasad.
For giving this opportunity. I think I am the last batsman. So I'll be speaking in 2 sections. First is dislocation without surgical neck fracture and dislocation with surgical neck fracture. So first section, this normally we see in clinical practice. Case of a anterior shoulder dislocation, you can see the greater tuberosity here. Post-op reduction, it sat well. Whereas in some cases, post-reduction, it doesn't sit. So they go for fixation. And in some cases, a dislocation with a large boning Bankart, they go for fixation, either arthroscopic or open. And if it is a chronic Bankart lesion like this, so it can be fixed arthroscopically. You can see the anterior inferior glenohumeral ligament, and this is after the fixation. So this is all about acute. But for the PG's sake, normally still in the outpatient practice, we see a neglected shoulder dislocation, most commonly posterior shoulder dislocation. It is a missed or late diagnosis. In clinical practice, any patients we see the loss of external rotation, which you think of first frozen shoulder, osteoarthritis, and neglected posterior dislocation. That's why they have to keep in mind all this. And they are most often associated with other fractures, tuberosities, and that's why you should have a proper axillary view, both always AP and axillary, and of course CT scan to plan the treatment. So if it is a supervised neglect is there, especially patient is older, so we can just manage conservatively because scapula compensates very well. So when to operate? Hinged posterior dislocation, a dislocation with fractures, and chronic dislocation in young patients with disability. So deltopectoral approach, follow the biceps tendon to the lesser tuberosity, inside the subscapularis, or do the lesser tuberous osteotomy, and you check after reduction how much amount of external rotation you require to stabilize the joint. So same amount can be used external rotation in sling. So this is the way. So reduction, you see the heel sacks, you manage the heel sacks, reverse heel sacks. So if it's at 20 to 40%, either we can do McLaughlin procedure, fill the subscribed tendon, or you can do the knee osteotomy, lesser tuberosity osteotomy, and fill in the gap. If it's more than 40%, go for Hemi. Coming to a few words on anterior dislocation neglected, is easily diagnosed, but mostly in elderly. So if his patient is young, up to 3 months it can be done, but more technical demanding. Beyond 3 months, you should always be cautious. Always keep a call to CT vascular surgeon when you're operating. And of course, CT angiogram is also. Supervised neglect after 6 months. There's a few cases. This patient advised 3 days after injury, but he has reported 13 weeks after the posterior shoulder dislocation. So is a lesser tuberosity. Already osteotomy is done for you. Just go there, reduce, fix the osteotomy, lesser tuberosity in this, reverse heel sacks. And we did the subscapularis repair with the anchor. This patient, 7 days old posterior dislocation. My friend has manipulated. He converted dislocation into fracture dislocation. And this is the procedure. And this is 6 months after the procedure. So we did a ORF, McLaughlin procedure. So a take-home message in this, always under total muscle relaxation with minimal traction, fully internal rotate, then only leverage, and always be ready for open reduction. This case, again, lock dislocation with both tuberosity fractures. So here we fixed the tuberosities, and you can see even the anchors. So you have to repair the cuff also. So this is the interesting patient, 23 years young boy, manipulated elsewhere, but failed. He treated conservatively by quack. Now he presented 4 months after the injury, posterior dislocation. So after reduction, both osteotomy of the greater tuberosity, lesser tuberosity, fixation, and fixation of the cuff. And this is 6 months after the repair. This is done 10 years back. He wanted to become a dancer. Now he contested recently as a MLA and he lost. This boy. So take your message in the young patient with a disability, look for the cartilage status, and you think of head preserving surgery, either way, open reduction with or femoral head reconstruction. And these patients, you have to do aggressive rehab starting from the day one, because you have to fix both bone and the cuff. This patient, 55 years former, 1 year unreduced posterior dislocation, very stiff, useless range of motion. You can see large reverse heel sacks, more than 50%. Of course, cuff is good. So we did a Hemi, and this is the intra-op checking of the stability, 50% glide anterior posteriorly. This patient neglected anterior shoulder dislocation, 40 years former, 5 months. You can see some amount of heterotopic ossification in this. And this is a CT scan. You can see our friends are there, axillary results. So I chose to not to operate. So it was only supervised neglect. So proper scapular rehabilitation, they compensate very well. Coming to next off, dislocation with surgical neck fracture humerus. So very not uncommon, difficult to treat, but they present variably, and stiffness is very common in this patient. Surprisingly, very few large series are there. I come to only 2 papers in the last 10 years. Robinson. You can see 1/3 of the patients, they have axillary nerve involvement. All this fracture dislocation, keep in the mind. So in the type 1, the capsular attachment is more than 2 centimeter and there's a bleeding from the bone. In the type 2 classification, the capsular attachment is less than 2 centimeter and there is no bleeding. So all type 1s and type 2 under 60 years, they went for ORF. So after 23 patients, only 2 AVN. But type 2 ORF after 60 years, more than 50% went to AVN. All type 2 above 60, they went for Hemi. And about posterior dislocation, more common seizures. And they did well, he healed well. The most common limitation is the loss of internal rotation in this series, posterior dislocation. All went by ORF. So it has a bimodal presentation. Younger patients, they require high energy trauma. Older patients are ground level. And here, the anterior fracture dislocation. Dislocation is GT, dislocation with 3-part and 4-part. Posterior fracture dislocation, most often with the 2 or 3 or 4-part. The first phase are very good prognosis. Already we have discussed previously, with only GT fractures, they do well. Problem comes with 3 and 4-part fracture. Why? Because of we have to manage Hill sacks, the risk of avian, the risk of non-union, and sometimes we may do arthroplasty as the initial first treatment, and functions outcomes are variable. In fracture dislocation posteriorly, most commonly seen in men middle age because of seizure and fall from height. So philosophy is less than 65 years of chronological age, means what is a physiological age, at the plate, nail or cage, cemented hemi or RSA above 65 years. Patients who have a lot of expectations, but you have to individualize each patient. There is nothing rules. So treatment is by individualization. So factors to consider is look for neurovascular status, age and comorbidities. And if you be as early as possible, if you are treating as a neurovascular or open, but if you're treating at an old age man, there is no hurry. You can wait for another 3-4 days. And because they are associated with comorbidities, multiple injury patients, and you have to arrange the special implants. So, but we're treating by ORF, especially younger patients. So we should be doing as early as possible, thinking in terms of AVN, resting the early function and non-union. So you have to always explain the patient there's a possibility of AVN, or AVN may be partial or full, or it may complete, or it may be symptomatic. But if you're treating the hemming, always, especially in doubtful patients, younger patients, will be very careful because there's a lot of tuberosity healing, stem loosening, dislocation, non-union, and infection. So a few cases. So 31 years, 72 years after he referred. Soft tissue, type 1. Type 2 is less than 2 centimeter. So in the hall, how many want to do ORF? Can you raise hands? 32 years. Good. So ORF was done, temporarily fixed, and this is the fixation. You can see the GT, but it's included in the ethibond sutures here. 6 months, and late 10 months, you can see a segmental AVN, but it's doing well now. This is a 4-part anterior dislocation. You can see the head split here. So I went for hemi. This case belongs to Somashekar. We got a neglected fracture dislocation with a glenoid defect. So humeral head graft was used to reconstruct glenoid. Another case, 4-part fracture dislocation posterior fixed with Philos's plate. Again, this is a 4-part posterior dislocation fixed with hemi from Shekhar. So a few words about reverse shoulder arthroplasty. This is a practicing 72 years pediatrician from Kadapa, father-in-law of Jagan. You can see here fracture, 4-part. So this is how the head is being you're opening the book and releasing the head. And he underwent reverse shoulder arthroplasty, with glenosphere, metaglean, and tuberosity reconstruction. You can see that both greater and lesser tuberosities and shaft, they are all moving together. So, and you can see that conjoint tendon, looking for the tension of the conjoint tendon. So this is a post-op picture. You can see the tuberosity reconstruction, you can see the greater and lesser around the metaglean. So thanks for patient hearing. I request everyone to attend the 12th CISA on April 14th Sunday. The theme is hip preservation. The faculty is Prasad Gaurineni. He has a vast experience, at least 16 years in hip preservation. He was trained under Professor Gans. He's a good academic physicist, both for PGs and senior practitioners, starting from examination, anatomy to the osteotomies. Thanks.
Request from me, please all of you attend the Tosakan 5th Tosakan to be held at Nizamabad. The dates will be December 31st, February 1st and 2nd, and make it convenient to attend it. January 1st, January 31st, February 1st and 2nd. Dr. Prasad is confusing by his presence here.
Gold medal award goes to P. Nikhila Reddy. The title is The New Device for Percutaneous Entry Point in Greater Trochanter for any intramedullary fixation of the femur. Is she here? She won the first place. Please come on to the desk. Now the silver medal goes to Dr. Manadeep Reddy. A comparative study of dynamic hip screw and proximal femoral nail in the treatment of intertrochanteric fractures of the femur. Is Dr. Manadeep here? No. Come. It's a gold medal. Okay, next week. We will honor the prize winners in the next conference, next Tosakan. The best poster award goes to Y. Shravan Kumar. The title is Fat Embolism Syndrome, Fracture Long Bones, a review on pathogenesis and clinical features. Request the KOA members and Department of Ortho members to please come forward. Sitting here and there. There will be presentation of mementos to all the organizing committee, all the assistants, Mamata MMC and KOA members.
I request Dr. Haripasa Garu to give memento to Dr. Hanuman, Organizing President, Tosa Khan.
Now I request Dr. Hariprasad Garu to present a memento to our Organizing Secretary, B. Srinivasarao. Now I request Dr. Sudarshan to come on to the dais to take a memento from the TOSA President.
He is the one who has organized trip to the Bhadrachalam, and all the faculty who have attended were extremely happy.
Now I request Dr. Venugopal to come on to the dais to take a memento from the President. Please, I request Dr. Arif to come on to the dais to take the memento. I request Dr. Suresh to come on to the dais to take the memento. Suresh. Sujit, please come on to the dais. Arun, please come on to the dais. Ravi Teja to come on to the dais. Anybody? Did I miss anybody? Please. Anil, please come on to the dais. Now I request our organizing chairman, Dr. P.N. Prasad Garu, to present a small token of appreciation to our TOSA president, Dr. C. Hariprasad. Now I request Dr. Organizing Chairman to present a small this thing to the
Now, may I, on behalf of Dr. Sudhir, Secretary, I am speaking about. May I request present President, to exchange the medallion with incoming President-elect, Dr. M.S. Gaud.
Dr. Vijay Bhaskar will take over from Dr. Sudhir or the responsibilities of General Secretary. Now incoming President will have few words.
First and foremost, I congratulate the Khammam team for organizing such a wonderful conference. A well planned, well conducted. The main pillars of the organization team, Dr. Prasad Garu, Dr. Hanuman, Dr. Srinivas Rao Garu, with his team, we never expected that the conference will be so nicely organized. A very good scientific content and a wonderful hospitality. And with this, everybody got benefited, not only the juniors, the seniors, we also got benefited with this conference. The responsibility of heading this association is passed on to me just now. I work for the cause of the association. I live to the expectations of the members. The first and foremost is we have to strengthen our association membership. So that for that we'll try for it, and we'll improve by next year we'll improve the number of members in our association. And thank you very much. Thank you.
Incoming Secretary will have few words.
Good afternoon, all of you. I am Dr. Vijay Bhaskar, practicing at Hyderabad. I am very thankful to one and all the members of TOSA. Indeed, great pleasure being chosen as a unanimous secretary for 2019 to 2021. I pledge here from onwards, strive, struggle and strengthen for our association. Our president's theme for 2019 is safe transport of trauma patients. That's the theme work we do. This year, the safe transportation of trauma patients. I am expecting support from all the orthos to support our day-to-day activities of TOSA. I request our executive members to attend our executive meetings, take up the important decisions to develop our TOSA. Let us maintain the congenial relation within our professionals, and any issues discuss, resolve ourselves to maintain the dignity and decorum of our community and society. Let us try to know pitfalls in the association. Let PGs and orthos become the members of association to strengthen and fight for our rights in all aspects. Dr. Murthy is elected as a treasurer, is not able to attend this conference due to his father passed away. We appreciate an exemplary and extraordinary academic hospitality in Khammam, TOSACON 2019. Please become the TOSA members who are not, and to strengthen the association as well. TOSA will rescue when you are in need. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
With a small request, Dr. Mahidhar to come on to the dais to take the memento. I request Dr. Shravan to come on to the dais to take the memento. And the one person, the resident in the Mamta Ortho department, single-handedly managed many things, and he helped us a lot. I request Dr. Prashant to come on to the dais and to take the memento.
Srinivasarao garu.
It's proud and privilege to me being as organizing secretary for this TOSACON 2019 held at Khammam. On behalf of Khammam Orthopedic Association and Department of Mamta Medical College, I thank all the national faculty, state faculty, and chairmen who presided the lectures and posters and paper presentations. I thank our, from now onwards, past president, Dr. Hariprasad Garu, who guided since 1 year for conducting this TOSACON in Khammam by giving valuable suggestions. Thank you, sir. Next, I thank Dr. M.S. Gaud Garu, senior professor, worked in Gandhi Medical College, at present working in Medcity Hospitals. Presently elected as president for this year. I congratulate and thank Dr. M.S. Gaud Garu, who came on the first day onwards and by giving his valuable suggestions. Thank you, sir. I thank our previous joint secretary of TOSA and now unanimously elected General Secretary Dr. Vijay Bhaskar Garu for his valuable suggestions to conduct this TOSACON in Khammam. And one important thing, our organizing chairman Dr. PNVS Prasad Garu, who is the backbone and pillar, eminent lecturer, academician, and skilled at Ilijaro, who presented Khammam to the nation and participated and conducted many workshops at various levels. It happened, TOSACON in Khammam, because of him only. I thank Dr. Prasad Garu, Dr. Surya Prakash Rao Garu, who stood as judges for the papers, post-graduation papers, and given their good judgment for electing the papers. I thank our Khammam MLA, Povadan Ajay Kumar Garu, who generously and immediately granted this dental college auditorium where we are sitting here and providing accommodation, transportation, and various other financial assistance also. I thank on behalf of KOA and Mamata Medical College Department, thanks to Puvada Ajay Kumar Garu. And I also thank our MP, Ponguleti Srinivas Reddy Garu, who has given SR Gardens where we conducted banquet dinner yesterday. I thank our MP Garu also. Later, I thank all the delegates who came from all the states and also from Telugu states and participated for these 3 days and interacted with senior doctors and made us feel happy for sitting in lecture hall. Thank every delegate. And I thank people who, LED electricians here who work here for 24 hours since 3 days, and also the press people who covered our conference in various papers. And I also thank all the residents, house surgeons, and volunteers who acted as volunteers for the conference. And Dr. Nikita, who is in house surgeon. And I thank one and all who participated in this conference for these 3 days and made us this conference success. Thank you one and all. Now please stand. We will have one national anthem, sir.
नायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे